All right. Welcome to Inside the Huddle, brought to you by Romo Athletics and powered by the Rolla Athletic Booster Club. I'm your host, Tom Brown, and today we got Coach Josh Vinyard, the head tennis coach for the boys program. And thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're here at the center, man. Great facility.
Yes.
As everyone knows, the tornado that hit in Rolla last Friday and had a lot of damage going on, and some not damage you don't think about. Like just with some of the Wi-Fi system, the power system, and then the school trying to scramble to get all the schools back in place, kind of brought everything down. So normally we'd be having that over there, but because of the Wi-Fi signal not being complete, we came over to the center. Center's been great enough to let us be here, and of course with the Bear Lawn tennis courts where you play at. So
yeah,
great to be here. So how about for you? Is everything safe for you and your family when it comes to the tornado and the storms?
yeah. We were really fortunate and blessed. We just had some minor sticks and limbs and stuff like that. We had lost some shingles off the shed, but house is good. Everything's good, and a couple scared kiddos. But other than that, we've survived it.
Good. That's one of the things. It's such a blessing because for those that were hit, it was pretty traumatic as we all know. But the community outreach, the students kind of participating in the cleanup, and I know with a lot of efforts to get the classes all moved from the different schools, getting Wyman removed and everything. I know it was just a whole bunch of community effort, school effort to get all this stuff kind of put together.
Yeah, it's really awesome to see, and just the how our high school staff, who wasn't really impacted at the high school, but how much they helped everybody else, and everybody came together to try to make it work so we can get kids back in classrooms and get started up after spring break. Dr. Dare has been a phenomenal, amazing through the whole thing. Our whole admin team has, and so hopefully we'll work some kinks out and be able to start school up after spring break. So.
Yeah, no, that's Thursday. And that's kind of, it's such an aggressive date when you're trying to basically repurpose a couple different schools and everything moved around. But man, just kudos to everybody for doing it. It's amazing to see.
Yeah, I think if the number somewhere close to 1,000 students are going to be moved in some capacity. So for us to be able to do that and get it done so quickly, it's an awesome thing to see our staff and teachers, coaches, teams, sports teams are all meeting at one spot and going and helping with the cleanup and doing all of that stuff. So it was good for our teams to get to opportunity to serve and serve other people. So that was a good opportunity for them to do. Unfortunate, of course, but it brought our community together very well. Yeah.
And that's what you want to see from teams. It was a great team example of kind of the bonding of the community. We saw it right before all of that with the playoffs and hosting the district games and watching the field house just packed with fans of the community that came out in groves to support our program, support the team, and then you saw that same rallying around a crisis. And so, great to see.
We're blessed to be here in Rolla and be a part of the school district.
Definitely. Sure. So, all right. So, boys tennis. So, again, moving from basketball, which again, you are a basketball guy, but hey, you took over the tennis program, and man, ever since you've been doing it, the numbers seem to go up every year. What was your participation? Kind of coming out for the program this year.
Our numbers keep going up, and I think we had a couple that it was too much with the spring schedule and plays and different things like that were going on. But I think our number right now is 32 kids. So we're a couple more than what we had last year. We've grown it, and the kids that we've got that are here, they're excited to be a part of it. And our numbers are such that we're limited with 6 courts. So we're going early and late. So our parents have been great because for those kids to keep all those kids and not make cuts, we're having to go 3:30 to 5 and then 5 to 6:30 every day. Wow. So we've extended our practice time to make sure all those kids get an opportunity to get better. Most of our kids don't get a racket till they're freshmen. So we've got to give them time. And so most of our kids have been really good about the early, late part. And we're rolling right along right now.
Well, I think that's one of the big challenges that, and I know we talked about this before with every other program in sports program. But how old's your kids right now playing basketball? You got them in, they're what?
They're 7 and 8.
7 and 8. You got them going. They're pre-cert and you have them out there going it. I did the same thing. It's real easy to do and you can get them around you. But with tennis, if you're not from a tennis family, and especially in this area, you don't have it down in Springfield or Jeff City. Some of them, they'll have it. And of course, the cities where it's just part of the program that they get them involved early. But like you said, around here, it's freshman year, like, I'm going to try tennis for some of it, that's extra work that has to go into the whole process.
Yeah, we've had a lot of success. Part of that is just because we've just had we we don't necessarily try to win ugly, but sometimes we do. Like we just we've had a good trend of athletes coming out, soccer kids, basketball kids coming out, and so the kids that have played a lot of sports.
Mhm.
Transitioning to a new one is not completely foreign to them.
Right.
Being able to hold a racket, they've played ping pong,
Yeah,
they've played
yeah.
pickleball, they've done some things to where when you're a good athlete, you can pick stuff
Yeah.
up a little faster. And so the learning curve isn't quite as much.
Yeah.
And so we've been blessed to have those kids. And sometimes we're better athletes than them, maybe not better tennis
Mhm.
players as we get started.
Mhm.
And we kind of win in some ways because we're just better athletes. And then as they get more time in the program, then the skill comes.
Yeah.
And then that's where we've been really able to make room up on the private schools and the Jeff City Eliases and those type of teams. We made a lot of ground on those guys because we've got good athletes. And then once we get enough time with them and they put the work in, then we've been able to close that gap quite
Yeah.
quickly, really.
Well, I think about going back all the way when Luke Foster was kind of your number one in tennis, and he was a
Yep.
basketball player playing at Evangel now, and then that led to other friends of his that were younger coming out,
Yep.
and to kids that have gone on and played college ball, and now you have this junior class that are all kind of connected, and some of them would have played anyways, but some of them are only playing tennis because of Luke and Cam and
Yes.
Owen and having that group, and that's why they're out. I know, like for instance, Ethan's he's always playing tennis with those guys, even
Yes.
though he's not a tennis player.
Yeah.
But he's like, oh, this is kind of fun. I want to do it too. And
Yep.
so you see that excitement, and then those kids that choose to say, no, no, I'm going to do that for a spring sport. So yeah, so let's look at again the program you've had. You lost some seniors. You got a couple that are playing at SBU right now, right?
Yeah. We've had good senior leadership from the guys that have been in our varsity to the guys that have been in ranks lower than six. But we've had great senior leadership, and they've helped our young guys come along as they help themselves. But Cam and Owen, I don't know exactly how that all worked that they came out, but they did. And Luke was a big part of that, recruiting kids to come out. Um, and his younger brother Joe, although Joe's injured right now, Joe is still a big part of like he's got a couple guys to come out
Yeah.
just because he's a good guy and
Yeah.
he has good relationships with a lot of kids and he's been able to get a couple guys to come out and say, hey, come give this a try. I think you'll like it. And so, but Cam and Owen were great. They're both they came over on spring break and last week, and so they hit with us some. And that was really good. And even from a coaching standpoint, I was picking their brains on the things that they are doing now, things they're being taught, and points of emphasis that we can do better here. And so I got a lot of really good feedback, like, hey, they focus a lot on this. Maybe we should try to focus on that. And so we have been. And so it's been good to get their feedback. And but they were great for our program. Cam and Owen made huge jumps, and that's another thing. Like Cam was a little bit higher ranked as a freshman.
Yeah.
I think he was like 11, 12 as a freshman. And then and Owen was like 18, 19. But there's another situation where if we keep our top 14 or 15 guys, those guys never play for us. And then last year, Owen had made that huge jump for us and worked hard in the summer. And then he plays number 3 and loses one singles match all year in 3. And both those guys get to go play at the next level. And I think they're having a fun time with it. So, but that senior leadership has been really good for us. This guy likes it. He gets another guy to
Yeah.
come. And I think most of the time, once they stay with it for a little bit, they really like it and have stuck with it. So,
Well, and kudos to you too, as you said, tennis wasn't your sport. It wasn't your background. You've been a varsity coach for years and years and years. Not going to say a lot of years because I'm not saying
yeah,
you're older
yeah,
because
yeah,
you're
I get
a lot
it.
younger than me, but it's been a while. And then all of a sudden, hey, they need you to take on tennis. Okay, great. So you put in the effort. I remember you going through it and learning about it, reaching out to people, expanding your knowledge. And here comes back these 19-year-old kids, 18, 19-year-old kids that played for you, and you're picking their brain. And that's one of the things you like to see is a coach that's willing to still learn and grow and learn from whoever. It doesn't always have to be the veteran coaches.
No.
And it's those people that have those experiences. They've seen something, they've heard something, and you ask them and you incorporate it and you trust them.
Yeah.
And that's so kudos to you to be
Thank
that
you.
coach that does that. I think that's a big thing.
Yeah, we do. Even like it's funny because even today, Keaton Renaud has a gentleman coming in that's helping him, and so I snuck away a couple of times and just went over there and just listened, and I've used Keaton some because he's gotten a little bit a different type of coaching, and sometimes I will let him go and teach it to a couple kids, and then I just listen to how he teaches it because sometimes kids will explain
Yeah.
it to another kid in a way that they can understand it better than I can.
Yeah,
And then I can
because they have
steal from,
aura. They have
yeah,
aura and riz and
yeah,
stuff
they
like
have
that.
all that stuff. Yeah. And I don't have any of that. So, but I've allowed him to do that. He's done really good with our younger kids. I'm like, hey, go teach this a little bit today. Take 5 minutes, go teach this, and then I'll just watch and see how he's teaching it, and I learn from them too.
Yeah.
And there's lots of ways you can learn. And Coach Loeb, who is at Rockbridge, has been really phenomenal to me. Like, he's a guy that wouldn't have to take a guy that doesn't know anything about tennis. And I've gone and worked his summer camps. And just the other day, we're working on serves and really trying to expand and increase how quickly we can teach that skill, because it's one of the number one skills. And I feel like it's kind of like in basketball. If you can make baskets, basketball's fun.
Yeah.
If you can't make baskets, you can enjoy it, but not quite the same. And so serving's that way. So it'd be a way that we can, if we can hook them and teach it a little better, then um, then of course we speed that process up and they like it more. And so, but Coach Lowe's been phenomenal for me to call and reach out like, hey, how do you teach this, or what's a way that we can progress this, where someone like me who doesn't have as much experience, how can I break this down into 2 or 3 parts? And it's been great for us. And so I feel like we've been able to get things rolling a lot faster that way. So,
well, you brought up Keaton Renaud, and so he's part of the staff coming back, a team come back from last year.
Yep.
And so, yeah, let's take a look at the who do you have? I know just recently you had your rankings match, your rankings tournament. I don't know how you call it.
Yeah, rankings tournament is what it is. Yeah.
And that's where you're looking at your 1 through 6, which would be your varsity team.
Yep.
Right. And then so that happened. So talk about who's your 1 through 6.
So Keaton Renaud is our 1. He played our 2 last year. And then Elson Wong, he was our 4 last year, and he'll play 2. And then Cam Brown is 3. Pax Ledbetter is 4. We have a freshman, Kyle Robinson, who we knew he was going to be pretty good. We didn't know how good he would be early, but he's really surprised us. He's going to be a whale of a player for us. And he's 5. And then Muhammad Algrau is our 6. And so Mo's been with us for 4 years, and it's gradually just gotten better and better and better. And I'm really happy for him that he's going to start the season there and get a chance to help us at the varsity level. He's put his time in. And so those are our top 6 guys. But I'm really pleased with our freshman sophomore group right now. We've got Connor Johnson, who's our 7, Owen Black, Brody Luna, Loyal Davis, Tristan Ace, who just came out. He's a soccer kid, but he just came out, and he's got a great feel for the game. So those are like our 7 through 11 guys. They're all sophomores. And so we're really excited about where they're at right now and how good they could be over the next couple of years. So we're really excited about that. Keaton has put the time in, and he's going to have a whale of a year. Like
I got a little fill in from Ethan. He came to watch the tournament. And he goes, he's watching the things, and he's like, "Oh dang, Dad!" He goes, Keaton had some game to him. He has got some stuff going on, man.
Well, he's put the work in, and not just in the tennis part. He's put the work in to get his skills better and get coached. And he's such a coachable kid. But he's put the work in, but he's also put time in the weight room.
Yeah.
And so he doesn't even look like the same kid that he was last year. And so he's gonna have a phenomenal junior season for us. And Elson, I think he was 26-5 in singles last year and was really good in doubles too. So I think that both those guys are going to really carry us. And then Cam and Pax, and those guys are going to be 3-4. So it's going to be a new deal for them, because going from 7-8 ranked to play 3-4 is quite a bit of jump. But I think they're ready for it. I think if they keep grinding and putting the work in, that they're going to have a really good year for us. And then Kyle and Mo will balance out the back half of that. But in high school tennis, you win, and you usually win. We've done a great job of winning in 4, 5, 6 singles and 2, 3 doubles. And so it's gonna kind of put our emphasis there. But our 1 and 2 are going to be really good. And so we're excited about the year that we could have if everybody stays healthy. And we're going to miss Joe Foster, because Joe was a big hit losing him, and he's got a doctor's appointment. I keep telling him that what happens if you go to that doctor's appointment and they say, hey, you're good to go, or in 2 weeks you can be good to go. But we're going to miss Joe, because Joe was going to be in our top 3, but also probably play 1 doubles. And so we tell our guys, hey, guy goes down, next guy up. I mean, we can't whine and complain about it or what if it. We just next guy up, let's go. And so I think our guys are ready to step up. So we're really excited about the core group of guys we've got. We've got 32 guys, and we have some other guys that I just have to brag on. Even like Hayden Emery, who's a junior and had never played, but he's just relentless, and like yeah, I got to chase him out of there all the time, and he loves it, and he's working at it, and he's not your prototypical tennis guy. He's a fullback in the
I
football
don't
field.
think he's going to charge the net. He may go through it and get the
Yeah,
other
he may, he
side.
may. But guys like that even as a junior coming out, like he's not going to settle. Like he's got goals for like I want to be a part of the mix, and
Yeah.
and he's approaching it the right way. So we have a lot of kids like that. Even that I've just been really impressed with them coming out and the work they're putting in and staying after and hitting and trying to get better. So I really like our group. We've got a good mix in our schedule where we'll get tested here and there. I know Lebanon's going to be. We have a few matches before our tournament at Lebanon, and we've had a lot of success there. And we're going to get tested in a couple of matches there where we haven't maybe haven't had as close a match as the last few years. But I think our schedule sets us up to be pretty good for the postseason. We got our district today, and so instead of being in Central Missouri, which we have for the last 4 years, we're going to Southwest Missouri. So we'll get Branson, Central, West Plains, Camdenton. Trying to remember the Glendale will be one of the other, and Parkview will be the other teams in that district. So we're excited about that too because we're going to go play some different
teams, yeah,
some different
and
teams.
get away from that Justin Elias kind of challenge always seemed to be.
Yeah.
But this is Springfield Central. They're pretty good on tennis.
They have been traditionally.
Sure, I think.
Yeah, Glendale Central's been really good. I mean, they went to the Final Four the last couple of years, so they've been really good. But they've had a string of really good kids. All those guys are graduated now. So, but they kind of just
reload. Yeah.
With the magnet school they have there, they just kind of reload. And so we'll see where they're at. But Branson, of course, probably is the top of that group. Okay. And so we'll get to see them in a couple different places. And so at the Springfield Invitational, we'll get to see some of those guys, and we'll get to figure out where we need to be for districts. But it'll be interesting going to a new district.
Yeah, and we were talking beforehand with the change of leaving the Ozark Conference. Yep. That's been a challenge for a lot of the programs to kind of get your matches, but you were able to like retain about 7 of those teams and having those head-to-head matches. It looks like, and then you're able to kind of fill in everything. The rest of us kind of probably just normal stuff, anyways. So.
Yeah, I have really good relationships with those coaches, and they're really great people. Kayla at Waynesville, and of course Ron has been doing it a long time at Lebanon, and those guys they've kind of been really good to me too, as I've learned over the last 4 years. They've been, and Kirk Ritchie at Camden, of course. Those guys have all been really great for me, and so whenever it was like, hey, can we keep you on the schedule? Yeah. It was easy. It was easy for them to want to do that, and we've been able to keep all of them on there. And I think schedule-wise for them, it wasn't exactly like you're going to the COC. Yeah. Now we're going to schedule COC. Well, COC is going to have a end of the year conference tournament, kind of like we did in the COC. So most of those teams were like, well, we're not going to add you to our schedule. We're just going to play you in the tournament. Yeah. And so that kind of puts those teams at a disadvantage because they're not going to play any of them. And then when you go to get seeded, it's going to affect those teams and things like that. But because of that, because they're not scheduling all the COC teams, we were able to keep most of them, and that's good because we want to play against those guys every year. So.
And like you said, you have the history, you have the tradition, you have the expectations for the players as well. Yep. Kind of know what to expect, and let's be honest, you get some of those rivalries as you come up through their year after year. Kind of
and Lebanon's been a really good rival for us. My first year, they knocked us out in the district tournament, and then the last 3 years we were the ones that knocked them out in the conference or in the district, and so. We've done really well against them, but we've had some really close matches. And even our first year, we got done with the conference, we beat them, and then for third place, and then we end up at CC's Pizza together, and all our guys are sitting together at the same tables, and so we've got these good friendships with the Lebanon kids. And our kids look for each other when we're at different places. And so it's good that we're able to keep those good rivalries where we're going to be competitive and our kids know each other. So
great adds to the experience, the overall
experience. Yeah. For them. Yeah.
Sportsmanship. Yes, absolutely. Great. So what about on your doubles? Have you had your doubles set yet? Because you got your first match coming up on the 25th at home versus West Plains. The visitors are coming to town, 4 p.m. start over at Barrawan. And so I know a lot of times you do the match stuff first, and then as you see it kind of unfold, there's a lot of strategy to how you set up the doubles. Just like you said, winning maybe not the traditional way of expecting, hey, my number one's always going to have the win. You're looking at the other thing of where we can get advantages in play. So I know with the doubles, it always kind of, there's a lot of strategy how you pair people up.
Yeah, I think to open this year, we're gonna put Paxton Ledbetter and Keaton Renaud together. Partly because Keaton has such a strong first serve, and if he can serve consistently that way and pop him up in the air when you put a 6'6" guy at the net, it makes it pretty fun for him to be able to just hammer stuff down. So we're going to start that way, and then Cam Brown and Elson Wong are going to play two doubles. They played three doubles all year last year together, so that keeps that group at least together. And then three doubles is really, it's up in the air right now. So we've been, over the last few days of practice, where I'm putting certain guys together, strengths and weaknesses, and trying to figure out who's going to be three doubles. I think Kyle Robinson will be in that group, but I've really liked what Loyal Davis has done, and I think he's going to be in that mix. And even Tristan Ace, for a new guy, he's going to get an opportunity at that three doubles too. He communicates really well, and watching him interact in doubles, real positive with his teammates, and communicates really well, which you need in doubles. And so a couple different guys are going to get shots at three doubles as we try to figure it out, but we're not set in stone yet. But over the course of the first few matches, we'll kind of see who plays well together, and hopefully 4 or 5 duels in, we'll kind of set it and run with it. And that's kind of how we've done it in the past. And once we figure out a group that we think will work well together, then we'll say, okay, you're it, and let's go and run them and try to get better.
Yeah, it's interesting. You talk about like Tristan being a soccer player, again, having that quickness and agility, the side to side, the movement, but then also if you're willing to communicate, that's really important for the doubles, because you got to be able to cover, and you got a smaller area you got to cover typically, unless you have to go. But if you're going to go cover, then having that communication can tell people where they're at, and that's I understand.
Yeah, he does a really good job of, ball goes over your head, you're switching sides of the court and all of that stuff, and it's kind of a natural thing for him. He does it really well, and he seems to be at ease, and he's real calm and mild manner. He's not going to get too high with the highs or low with the lows, which you really need in doubles, because the emotional part of it, and you're working with someone else. So if you get put with someone who's pretty emotional about it, then it might not always work well. And so, but I think the guys that we will put him with, when he gets his chance, will be good. So it'll be interesting to see how that doubles three works. But I'm confident that whatever guys we put there, we'll put a competitive three there. It'll just be finding the best mix of two guys to do it.
So, understand.
Yep.
Well, Coach, before we close up, I want to recognize some of our sponsors. Always, again, appreciate everything that they do for us. So we'd just like to kind of recognize them. We got Angie Reese, MVP Apparel. She does a lot of great stuff on the swag. Got the Bulldog swag here. Thought that was always a sharp hat. Kind of trying to make me look good, sometimes a little extra tough, but Angie seems to get it done for me. Dan Collier, he's not just a good neighbor, he's a great neighbor over at State Farm. Man, does a lot of great stuff for the Bulldogs. Appreciate him, appreciate his friendship. Being part of the state's best chain gang really helps out as well for Friday nights. Phelps County Bank, 100% employee owned, mypcb.com. They're bankers by day, and they're Bulldog fans by night. So we appreciate everything they do. Some of you know well, Kobe Wan's Skills Academy. Does a great job coaching over there at Sullivan now. I think big things are in store for him. He's got some plans coming up that are going to be kind of exciting. Does a lot of training with the kids, so appreciate all of them as well. So before we go, I do have a question for you. You're a basketball coach. So, and we're in the middle of March Madness. Who do you have on your bracket winning it all?
I have Duke winning it all. I've been a Duke fan for a long time. As long as Cooper Flagg can be healthy, then I think they're going to be really tough. And so that's who I have. That's on the one that I filled out. And so I didn't fill out like 20 of them. Like all my tennis guys are like, I was like, how's your brackets doing? Well, which one, coach? They've got like 30 of them. I'm like, that's kind of cheap. Just pick one.
I know. So who have you had any, has anyone done damage to your bracket yet in that first day?
Not a ton. Not a ton. I was excited personally to see Drake, knowing Coach Mack at Drake, and getting to spend some time with him over the last few years through Coach Tapmeyer. It's hard, like, because at Mizzou, like, you want to root for Mizzou, but you're also rooting for Drake too. And so that I was happy and excited to see him get a win. So
there was some excitement in the Brown house.
Yes, I'm sure there was.
Good. All right. Well, hey, Coach, best of luck on the season.
Thank you.
Best of luck on coming up on the 25th. West Plains at home, Bear Lawn
Yep.
Starts at 4 p.m. So for all of our Bulldog fans want to come out and watch some great tennis, it's kind of a fun time. I try to get there periodically, cheer on the
Yeah.
boys, have a lot of fun, even made a couple trips. So
Yeah.
yeah, well, we'll try and be there as well. So yeah, appreciate it. Best luck on the season, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, so for Coach Vinyard, I'm Tom Brown from Inside the Huddle to the Heart of the Game. We'll see you next time.